part. I'm joined now by John Mendel. He is the Executive Vice President for Honda in the Americas. John, it's good to have you with us here on Taking Stock. An amazing show in a balmy Detroit. We're talking about 45 degrees and sunlight. There's no snow. And Honda and the Acura brand announcing 3 new automobiles. Tell me about the ILX. This is the, luxury sedan, the compact sedan.
New sport entry luxury sedan. 80% of consumers, automobile consumers, aspire to a luxury car. Only a little over 10% actually buy one. So we think that there's a real market for providing an entry luxury vehicle. A little bit smaller, but with all the luxury trappings, everything people want, Bluetooth, high fuel economy, a great ride, fun to drive, and that's what the new ILX is.
What about price, though? When you talk about luxury, I keep thinking it must be expensive. What about the price?
Well under $30,000.
Under $30,000 for a luxury sedan?
Yeah. We think there's a great market there. Younger consumers grew up with all the trappings, want it, but they don't want to pay the price. So we've coined this concept of a smarter luxury purchase, and that's what ILX is designed to do. It's provide everything people want and nothing more.
Tell me about financing right now. We talk always about credit when it comes to the automobile industry. Is credit available, and are you getting it to the people that want it?
Yeah, credit is available. It's been back and forth over the last 3 years. Certainly right after the Lehman shock, it dried up. But credit is available. Consumers are coming out now, and that's a good thing. We saw some of that come back in December pretty strongly, and particularly for smaller luxury vehicles. Consumers have gotten a bit smarter about where they're putting their money, and one of the cars we launched today was the RDX, the small sport utility. It's a full model change for us, new V6 engine, top fuel economy in its class, again, a luxury compact utility vehicle. So we're pretty excited about that. We debuted the all-new NSX concept. Now, the original NSX, as you know, was kind of put the super luxury cars on their ear a little bit because it provided kind of groundbreaking technology in a really affordable, everyday drivable car. This next NSX, which we launch in the next couple of years, will do the same thing again to that luxury market. So we're pretty excited.
Is the crossover concept, is that the trend that continues to power automobile sales?
I think multi-purpose is probably a better term. Crossover is the combination of any two things that the consumer wants it to do. So if I want it to be high performance and carry stuff, there's a car. It's only the industry that designs or defines what the vehicle is. The consumer really buys it, and they buy what they want, not how we define it. So.
What about the in-car experience? We've been talking a lot about that. Everybody wants a lot of electronics. They want to stay connected. Is that also where people are finding whether they're going to buy or not buy the car?
That's becoming a bigger and bigger differentiator. So the connectivity, the unification of what we call man and machine is more and more important to consumers. And that customizable ride, having it the way I want it, we call it inomama in kind of Japanese terms, but it's as you like it. Being able to make that car do, behave, and interface with me the way I want it is paramount to today's consumers, especially younger ones.
We're broadcasting from the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. I have to say Detroit, well, my guest, John Mendel, he is the Executive Vice President of Honda for the Americas. And John, I had to say Detroit because if you stepped outside and you checked on the weather, you'd be forgiven if you thought that maybe we were in a different city. You've been coming to this event for what you said, 35 years?
35 years, and this is the best weather I think I can remember in 35 years. You'd almost mistake it for Northern California. It's sunny, it's cool, but it is January,
What does that make? What do you think that puts people in the frame of mind for? Because, I've been talking to people and, best automobile sales since 2008,
yeah.
And people are very positive. And, you take a look at all the glitz, you understand why, but is there something more at work here?
Well, sunny outside, sunny disposition inside. I can't not draw that correlation. But I think you're seeing a rebounding industry. Last year, again, better than the year before. The prospect, we closed out the year very, very strong. The prospect for next year, the year we're in now, is good. So I think the industry is revitalized, re-energized, and the competition is good, which is going to be a great thing for consumers.
I'm glad you talked about competitions. That makes me think about the CRZ, right? This is the Honda offering. We talked about Acura. Tell me about the CRZ and the competition there.
Yeah, the CRZ evokes, from a styling standpoint, a lot of the imagery from the old CRX, which kind of, if it didn't invent kind of the tuner industry, it was certainly around at its birth. And that was the kind of iconic Honda vehicle that the car nuts really took and tuned and kind of put the Honda tuner piece on the map. Well, CRZ evokes a lot of that, but kind of brought it to a more modern kind of place. It's a hybrid. It's got the manual transmission and all the sport styling and everything else. So we're pretty excited about that car. It's been in the market a little over a year now and is really kind of hitting home with a lot of the zealots, the Honda enthusiasts.
Well, a lot of the zealots are also talking about the smoothness of the shifting, that's something that Honda is known for.
Yep. I've been in the industry, as I said, 35 years and around different manufacturers, and the transmission on that car is like silk. And it's one of the hallmarks of Honda. It's an engine company. We build engines almost 30+ million a year around for everything from snowblowers to high-performance Indy racing machines. And transmissions we do very well.
All right, John, I drove by the original Model T factory earlier today. This is a derelict building. When you talk about building automobiles, you can't just focus on what happens in Detroit and Michigan. Tell me about Honda's plans in the rest of the United States.
It's truly a global industry. We'll sell close to 1 million Civics this year globally, about a third of those in the U.S., about 700,000 Accords. Again, about a little over half of those in the U.S. But that vehicle has to appeal to such a broader range of people now, not only in Japan, Europe, India, all across Asia, China, emerging markets. So it's more and more important to stay in touch with that customer and really understand what the customer needs are. And that gets tougher and tougher on a global basis because, as you know, markets are in different places, but they're all converging and they all want great product. And I think that's what's so great about this industry.
So what about putting money to work in the United States in terms of expanding capacity?
We've expanded capacity in the U.S. We just put close to another $400 million in Ohio. We announced production in Mexico that'll start up in 2013. So we're very bullish on capacity.
Tell me about costs right now. We know that margins, they're always being hurt by input costs. What's going on there in terms of the cost that you pay for things like aluminum and for everything that goes into the car?
Cost is always the holy grail. A few years ago, we moved aluminum into the precious metal category when all the metals went north. That's always a pressure. But I don't think there's a competitive advantage to be gained from reducing inputs or buying better. The industry is pretty much a commodities industry there. It's really about manufacturing efficiency, purchasing efficiency, and really staying close to what your customer wants and delivering that in the best possible fashion.
You talk about efficiency. How much of the efficiency is being driven by mileage standards that are imposed by the U.S. government?
Think of 2016. That's the next gateway where the industry is challenged to get 35.5 miles per gallon. That gateway, if you've ever skied in France, the queuing behind the gates is a little bit disheveled. The industry is racing toward those gates, and there's only a couple levers you can pull: size, weight, or some tremendous breakthrough in engine technology or propulsion. Size and weight is really the battleground right now, and you're seeing more and more manufacturers come, even luxury manufacturers, come into that small category. And that's going to be more the trend over the next 2 to 3 years as we get to that 2016 marketplace.
All right, I want to thank you very much, John Mendel. He joins us as the Executive Vice President, Honda of the Americas. Thank you very much for giving your thoughts on Honda as well as Acura. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.